All right, we'll wait a few minutes, and then what we're gonna do, if you guys want to, we have different options. So we can go over the study guide as a group. I can give you kind of the answers and things like that, explain the test. If more people show up, or if you guys want to, I made a Kahoot as well, so we can play that. If you guys have your phones, and then you just kind of type in the code that way and watch my screen for the answers. So we'll wait to see if a few more people show up, and then we'll kind of go ahead and quickly review the test. How many other Zoom chats have you guys done this week?
I have 2 other ones today.
Both of them are today?
Yeah.
So 2, 1, 0, something. Okay. Do you guys do you guys like the Zoom chats?
I don't mind them. They're okay.
They're okay, yeah. All right, we'll kind of move on. Do you guys want to go over the study guide quick? I can put up on my screen. You guys can ask questions. I modified the test for Monday for Schoology. It's a lot shorter. But if you guys do the study guide, did you guys start the study guide yet?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Did you guys see the study guide review video?
Yeah.
So look on Schoology. There's a review video with a lot of the answers, and I go over it, talking over it like a screencast. Use that to fill that out and then submit it. So that's kind of what we'll do right now. So I'll share my screen with you guys. If you guys have questions, you guys can speak up, like unmute yourself. That's perfectly fine. Or if you guys just want to type it, so that we can kind of go over the questions at the end as a group, that's perfectly fine too. So let me share my screen quick. All right, do you guys see the study guide now? Yes, okay. All right, so again, it's a really weird unit that we had to go through because we were in class physically, and started the chapter with started the unit with chapter 8, and then we kind of had a break and spring break. Thought we might come back, but then we finished the unit with the different modified assignments via Schoology. So just kind of looking at some of the key things that are going to be on the test, talking about the accessory before and after the fact. Where's the difference? That's like when people are helping. So before, obviously, they're going to plan the crime, maybe help someone get somewhere, and after the fact, you know about the crime and you're getting someone somewhere else. You're hiding something, concealing something. Solicitation and conspiracy, those are different, where solicitation is you're trying to get someone to commit a crime. So I go to you and I go, hey, let's do this for me. Conspiracy is actually planning together. So everyone that's planning would get in trouble. In order to avoid conspiracy, so I knew about the crime, I was planning it, but then I decided to back out. I go tell the authorities beforehand. What must exist in order for a crime of omission? So this is like your not paying taxes. You don't do something, and that violates the law. So I didn't pay my taxes, so the IRS could come find me. And then motive and state of mind. Motive is why you do something. So I went to marathon and I was really, really hungry. So why did I steal that Snicker bar? Because I was hungry. State of mind is knowing that stealing is wrong. Like I know I'm not allowed to steal, but I did it anyways. So on that study guide, I just leave these blank for you guys to kind of go search for them in your notes or in the online textbook. Chapter 9, then we got into kind of the crimes against people. We talked about this in class, the criminal and non criminal examples of homicide. Again, non criminal would be if you're like a police officer, if you're in the line of duty, if you are a soldier, or maybe it's self defense. Then involuntary manslaughter, negligent homicide, unintentional killing resulting from conduct so reckless that it causes extreme danger. So, driving extremely dangerous, cutting it out of traffic, things like that. Versus negligent homicide is the causing of death through negligence, which is failure to exercise reasonable care. So maybe it could be a driving example as well. You maybe you were just on your phone really quick, you looked down, and then you ran into someone. Um, yes, that's not completely reckless, but it's not kind of respecting that reasonable care. Chapter 10, then crimes against property. So, can you light your own house on fire and then not get in trouble? No, you can still get charged with arson. People used to try to do that to collect insurance money. Uh, so, they kind of changed the law. So, you cannot do that. What are elements of larceny? Elements, again, for a crime are what makes up that crime. So, carrying away property of another with the intent to steal it. So, I go to someone's house and I see their Xbox and I go, "Yep, I'm going to take that." I have the intent to steal that. Different from robbery, where you kind of going up to someone, forcing them, intimidating them, and then taking their possession. So larceny, kind of going, maybe you're welcome in a place, and you're taking something. Robbery, you're forcing that. Forgery and uttering. These are examples of kind of like for documents and signatures. Forgery makes or alters a writing or document with the intent to defraud. So I'm doing this on purpose. I'm um, forging something. You always hear that, like a signature, maybe changing a document. The uttering portion is actually then offering that to someone knowing it's fake. So forging would be I'm going to sign this with a signature that's not real. And then you give that maybe check to someone knowing that it's fake. Going over chapter 11, then, what are two ways that the defendant can show that he or she is not guilty? You can say, hey, there was no crime. That was an accident. The example would be like taking someone's jacket from a restaurant that was hanging was the wrong jacket, or you have an alibi. You were somewhere else. OJ tried to claim he was somewhere else, an alibi, um, that he was kind of like out of the or leaving the city. But if you're somewhere else, you can kind of um, convince people or prove that, then there's no crime that was committed. If you're insane, you probably go to mental institution, and then justifiable or excusable justifiable defenses. You can say, "Hey, it was self-defense. You're defending your property, or you're defending someone else." Those are all justifiable defenses when being convicted of a crime. Chapter 12. This is the investigation stuff. We did quite a few activities on the investigation, whether it's search and seizure or what police can do when they ask you questions. So the first one, probable cause versus reasonable suspicion. So probable cause is reasonable belief known personally or through reliable source that something has been done, a crime has been committed. So if there's probable cause when you get pulled over because you were speeding. That is a crime. So then they can continue possibly a search of your vehicle when they smell something like marijuana. Reasonable suspicion is what you need in schools. Evidence that justifies an officer for stopping questioning. So there could be reasonable suspicion if it's like a high gang activity area and those people are hanging on the corner. Well, there's a good chance they might be selling drugs. So they can go ask them questions. Reasonable suspicion for schools, they say, hey, Allie was in the bathroom and when she walked out, it smelled like smoke. Okay. Well, there's reasonable suspicion that she was smoking in the bathroom. That's good enough for schools to search you. So, what really helps you though is the Fourth Amendment, which is unreasonable searches and seizures. It protects you against those. They can't just walk up to you because you have a backpack on and you're walking in McHenry and just say, we're searching you. They can't do that. They need to have some reason. So when can police execute a search warrant? What they have to do is go to a judge, and the judge kind of has the parameters on there, and they talk about when, where, how long you can issue this warrant. Um, but there's also ways that police can search without a warrant. They can have a lawful arrest. So you're already arrested, then they can search you. There's a stop and frisk. If you give consent, hey, can we search you? Sure. Okay. Then they can search you. Border and airports, you have less rights there, so they can search in those areas. Vehicle searches based on probable cause. So maybe they smelled something or you were violating the law already. They see something that violates the law, they can search you. Hot pursuit, you're running away from the cops. They immediately can maybe go into uh, your residence because that's where you ran to, and they can search. And then if it's an emergency, so sometimes there's an example of, can they go into a house, like a house party, right? And there's a bunch of kids underage drinking. Okay, well, are they allowed in the house? No, police. There's no probable cause. It was just a neighbor that called of maybe a noise complaint. But maybe the police officer sees someone passed out on the floor, bangs on the window, that person doesn't move. That could be deemed as an emergency situation where they can now go in and enter and kind of search to see what's going on because that person might be um, in danger. So when school officials, when can they search you? They need reasonable suspicion. We kind of talked about that. All right. So then the last three chapters that we kind of just wrapped up with, what information does an accused person have to provide at a booking? Name, address, date of birth, place of employment, maybe some fingerprints. You'll take a picture with a mugshot. Sometimes there's like a writing sample that you'll have to do, maybe a blood sample. Um, all those things can be provided. Pre-trial motion different for felony and misdemeanor. If it's a misdemeanor, you'll just go up and you'll say, yeah, I'm guilty or not guilty. Felony, you don't have to say anything. You'll probably just get a lawyer, and then you'll move on to the next step. Purpose of bail, so the person shows up, you pay a little bit of money, and then they will give that back to you when you come back to court. But if you don't come back to court, they're going to keep that money, and then they're also going to arrest you. At an arraignment, what happens if the accused pleads guilty? They're going to set your date for sentencing. So you're going to go back, they'll sentence you. If you say not guilty, then they'll set the date for the trial. So different motions, meaning like kind of to continue the process. Um, they want certain evidence. Maybe the defense team knows the prosecution has certain evidence. They want to see that. They want to postpone it to a later date because maybe they need more time. They want to change the location. Maybe they don't think they're going to get a fair trial in that location. They're going to change it. Or they want to suppress. They feel some evidence should not be presented in the case, so they want to get rid of it. And then the last two chapters, what does due process ensure? It's just a fair trial. So that's part of your Bill of Rights. So you have a fair trial hearing in front of a jury. What are some potential problems with peremptory challenges? You don't have to give a reason. Many you can get rid of jurors, and that might favor one side or the other. So in the voir dire situations where you're kind of eliminating jurors, there's some where you can just say that person's got to go, that person's got to go, and you get so many of them. But if there's a conflict, so that person, maybe the juror knows the defendant, then you can get rid of them without kind of being challenged. If you don't have a lawyer, can't afford one, will be appointed to you. That's when you're a Miranda rights. And then sentencing. So what are the four main reasons for criminal sentencing? Retribution, so revenge for wrongdoing. You want to kind of punish this person for wrongdoing. Deterrence, punishment to discourage. So you want to say, hey, you can't do this again, so discourage them. That's why you give them a penalty, a fine, probation, put them in jail, and they might not like that, so they won't do it again. Rehabilitation, to change their behavior, or incapacitation, where this person is dangerous to society and should not be around other people, so you kind of put them in jail. Last thing, what types of rights are limited behind bars? You can't vote. You don't have much privacy, and then you have warrantless searches. You can be searched whenever they would like. So that's kind of study guide. I have a video similar to that on Schoology already. Do you guys want to play Kahoot, or are you guys good? You guys feel confident?
We could do Kahoot. That's fine.
You want a Kahoot? All right. Let's see. Someone chatted. Kahoot. Let's do it. All right. I'll share that screen. Do you guys all have a phone that you guys can answer on while you see the questions on the screen? All right. Do you guys see the code? Yep. All right. Can you hear the music? Should we uh, should we play for extra credit? Okay, top 3 get extra credit. Here we go. Summers, are we gonna have a 4th participant? Yeah. All right. All right. So 5th Amendment. The biggest thing to remember is I plead the 5th. You don't have to talk when the cops are talking to you. You can then ask for an attorney after that. That's kind of what the Miranda rights will do, but it's not a free attorney. So that's where kind of you might get confused. Even Chloe's getting some, huh? TLO, this deals with schools. There you go, reasonable suspicion, easy. So I didn't realize that fifth person on the bottom that has 0, that's my wife. That was like a test run earlier. I didn't realize she's still in, so she's sucking it up. Exclusionary rule for evidence. All right, so for this one, Matt versus Ohio, I think we briefly touched on it, maybe one of the assignments. Um, the cops were sitting outside someone's house. They thought this person was doing something illegal. They went in, searched no matter what. It was for, I think, weapons or something. What they found was like illegal, like porn magazines or something that was illegal at that time. And then they tried to use that against them in their trial, but the search was illegal, so they had to exclude that evidence. So Matt versus Ohio is that case. All right, 2 more. Good. The prosecutor, the police will arrest you, then the prosecutor will actually charge you of a crime. Last one. Yep. Good. There's no intent. You didn't mean to do something. You took someone's jacket from a restaurant, took the wrong one. It was an accident. You can kind of explain that in your defense. Top 3, get extra credit. There you go. All right, do you guys have any questions? Test will be on Monday. Tomorrow is kind of like your makeup day. So test is Monday. If you do that study guide, it's, I believe, 25 to 30 questions, multiple choice, matching. I really shortened it up for the digital learning kind of test. So questions? All right. We'll see you guys maybe next week. I might set one up next week. I don't know. We'll see. The rest of the semester is watching a documentary and then doing a short kind of final exam. So after this, it's not too much work. But hope you guys have a good weekend. See ya.
Talking to your school, like you teach at,
Mhm.
teach your, like your students.
Yep.